He humiliated me in front of the whole city. So I let his company destroy itself.
For 20 years, my life was the art of fragrance. Not the cheap sprays you find on drugstore shelves, but the real craft. Those who understood called me a nose, a funny little nickname that hid a deep respect. My name is Sebastian Hartwell. I'm 45, and I create scents worn by celebrities, top designers, and anyone who can afford a true olfactory masterpiece. I can smell a fake bergamot from across a crowded room. I can tell you which hillside in Sicily a lemon note came from just by sniffing it. My senses are my instruments, delicate, precise, and extremely valuable. And that's exactly why Doug Ford's public humiliation cut so deep. It started with an invitation. On thick, white cardstock, Ford Consumer Products Luxury Edition launch, Plaza Hotel. I thought it had to be a joke. Ford's company makes mass-market sprays that smell like a chemical spill. My wife, Ines, who is an incredible chef and owns one of Manhattan's most respected restaurants, just sipped her wine and gave me a look. She said, "Sebastian, you have to go. It's visibility. PR matters." And she was right. She almost always is. So we went. The Plaza Ballroom was over the top, dripping with chandeliers and Ford's blue and white branding everywhere. Tables were lit up like a stage show, displaying their new luxury home fragrance line. Wild Orchid, Tuscan Lemon, Alpine Mist, a symphony of synthetic lies. Ford stood on stage, looking perfect in his charcoal suit, flashing a politician's smile. He talked about affordable indulgence and bringing luxury to every home. The crowd loved it, applauding like he was a rock star. Then, it happened. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to have one of America's leading fragrance experts with us, Sebastian Hartwell." Suddenly, a spotlight hit me like a sniper's laser and squeezed my hand. Ford motioned for me to come up on stage. His handshake was way too firm, a power play disguised as a friendly gesture. "Sebastian," he asked, handing me an elegant glass bottle. "What do you think of our wild orchid scent?" I sprayed it. I inhaled, and underneath all the artificial sweetness and cheap chemicals, there was nothing that even remotely resembled an orchid. It was just a generic, synthetic floral mess trying to mask a poorly made formula. I chose my words carefully. "It's an interpretation," I said, "but it contains no genuine orchid extract. It's primarily synthetic aldehydes that approximate a floral profile." The room went quiet. Ford's smile stayed, but his eyes got sharp. "Our customers don't need Parisian poetry," he said into the mic, his voice booming. "They're hardworking Americans, not fragrance snobs." The crowd started laughing. He leaned in closer to the microphone. "Last year, my so-called inferior air fresheners made more money than the entire niche perfume industry combined. Perhaps your artistic complexity isn't as valuable as you imagine." The audience roared. Then came the final blow. He turned and looked directly at my wife. "Mrs. Hartwell, your food must taste better than your husband's opinions smell." The room just erupted. Cameras were flashing everywhere. My face felt like it was on fire. I could see Ines's jaw clench with pure fury. Ford just patted my shoulder and said, "Thank you for your candor." I walked off that stage completely humiliated, professionally gutted, and personally wounded. The car ride home was silent, but the space between us felt thick with smoke. By the time we walked through our front door, that humiliation had hardened into something much sharper. It was determination. Ford had mocked a master of scent. He had no idea what kind of storm was about to hit him. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 3 in the morning, I found myself in my home laboratory. The walls are lined with vials, each one labeled. The shelves are crammed with chemistry books, notes on extraction, and decades of knowledge I've collected in the cold glow of my computer screen, I started researching Ford consumer products with the precision of a military analyst. The company was a monster $8.6 billion in annual revenue, and I quickly discovered their secret: ruthless cost cutting. They used aggressively synthetic formulas and the bare minimum of stabilizers allowed by law. Their chemical ingredients were deployed like blunt instruments, not fine tools. Then I found a 10 investigative article titled Ford's Synthetic Revolution: Profit Over Purity. It confirmed everything I suspected. By stripping out the stabilizers to the legal minimum, they had made their products chemically unstable. Their scent profiles were vulnerable, and there was a high probability of decomposition. A spark ignited in my mind. A few hours later, Ines came into the lab with a cup of coffee. "Sebastian, you haven't slept at all." I turned the monitor towards her and showed her what I'd found. "These compounds," I explained, "they break down easily if they encounter the right catalyst." She looked at me, intrigued. "Like what?" "That," I said, "is what I'm about to find out." The next few days were a blur. I ran test after test: temperature trials, UV exposure, humidity differentials. I was looking for the weak point. And then, the breakthrough came from a complete accident. I had left a sample of Ford's product on a windowsill that was, I admit, a little bit moldy. When I came back to it, the artificial floral scent had transformed into a rancid, disgusting stench. I had found the catalyst, Aspergillus niger, a very common type of household mold. The chemical reaction it caused produced something called trimethylamine, and trimethylamine has the unmistakable, unforgettable odor of rotting fish. I called Ines immediately. "You need to come home right now. I've found something extraordinary." That evening, I showed her what I had discovered. I recreated the reaction right in front of her. Within minutes, Ford's elegant wild orchid turned into the olfactory equivalent of a dead mackerel left out in the sun. Ines gagged. "That is absolutely vile. And it happens naturally," I told her, barely able to contain my excitement. "Ford cut the stabilizers too far. Any home with even a mild amount of mold will trigger this reaction." Ines just stared at me, a slow smile spreading across her face. "You're planning something, aren't you?" "Yes," I said. "We're not going to destroy Ford's company. We're going to let his company destroy itself. Revenge, in this case, was going to smell like justice and a whole lot of decomposing fish." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.